There's a place I can get to where I'm safe from the city blues, and it's green and it's quiet. Only trouble was I had to buy it, and I'll do anything I got to do. Cut my hair and shine my shoes and keep on singing the blues if I can stay here in Johnny's garden.
We're getting the beds down and nailed in. I've got one more to do, and then this is just my particular design. I use these 4x4s. I end up with 18 inches essentially, a little bit more than 18 inches, but about 18 and a quarter. And this is with 5 courses. It's just about the right height for this particular design. So we're pretty close. We're getting her done. Kind of back to where I started before I even thought about this underwater system, underground system. Anyway, there we are. What I've done here is I've put in a hardware screen below, which will hopefully, which will keep out moles and rodents from digging through and possibly putting a hole in the pond liner, and then and also maybe possibly keeping the roots from this pine tree out from underneath, growing into the box as well, although I don't know you can stop any of that. And then on top of that is I've put a poster board to protect the liner from any holes or any sharp edges that might be there from that screen. And that poster board is essentially just political signs. You can find them fairly easily. All you got to do is talk to a recent candidate that lost unexpectedly, of course, and then probably will never want to run again, certainly, or either that or his spouse won't want him to run again. And you could probably ask them to get one of those, and they'd probably have a whole bunch of them for you. Anyway, this is just mine idea. You could also put sand in there, I'm sure, and anything else. But again, here we are. As you can see, the box is I put this piece in for a drip system, and then as you can see, everything is now nailed together with rebar, and each piece is wherever there are joinery. Of course, you have to have at least 2 nails on each system. So now we're ready to go ahead and put the liners in, and we'll get to that. I've started on this one, and I've folded it so that if I fold it the opposite direction so that the fold is up, I'm afraid that water or any rain or dirt would get into it. So I'm working at it to fold it in a manner like a present package, like gift wrapping a package, only having to do it from the inside out. And then not perfect, but at least close enough, giving it some gaps and some a little bit extra room so that the fabric can stretch when we're in there. So we'll keep working on this. I've figured out how to cut a good circle around the bulkhead valve. It's got a rubber gasket right here, and when I cut this hole in this fabric, I want it to be exact size. So on this bulkhead valve, there's the nut, and there's also an O-ring that goes down over the top. So take the O-ring, and if I push it right over the top of that hole, or right over the top of the valve,
it exposes it and leaves a pretty good space, and then I can go ahead and cut around the outside of that just like that. Just pushes it up. Gives it be real careful, of course. This is a work in progress, and with a work in progress you learn by your mistakes. And one of the mistakes I made was when I cut this rubber, I didn't reinforce it, and as a result the bulkhead fitting was up a little higher than some of the other ones in the other beds. And the T that I have, I've modified this, but the T that I had pressed down stretched the rubber, and as you can see there was a gap causing a leak. So my answer to that was to get a repair kit. I drilled a hole in the rubber. It's got a sticky backing. I'll have to sand it and wash the rubber down so that it's got a nice good firm stick, and then I'll reinforce the liner with this rubber repair kit. In addition to that, just to kind of make it a little bit more safe, or make sure that it didn't cause any more stretching, I took another poster board and I put sand down around the bulkhead fitting so that it came up to a level height. And then I put this back in there like this, and then that way when the rubber goes down flat against it, flat down there, it will then seat correctly. It won't stretch any further than it already is. So with that, I'll get started with washing this fabric, this pond liner down, getting the hole kind of a little less distorted, and sand a little bit, and then put this gasket on there, and then we should be ready to fill it full of water again. Okay.
As the swift bird flies over the grasses, dipping now and then to take his breakfast. Thus I come and go, and I travel, but I can watch that bird and unravel, and I'll do anything I got to do, and cut my hair and shine my shoes, and keep on singing the blues, if I can stay here in Johnny's garden.
I've got my beds now filled, pretty close. I've got this pipe still exposed, so I'm going to probably add another couple inches of gravel to this. It's 4 inches now, but we are getting at that stage here where I think I'm pretty much complete on the gravel part, and I'll be putting a membrane over the top of this. So altogether it seems that through the rainstorms, this one I'm going to fill a little bit deeper, since it is higher than the other than the other beds. So I'm going to see if it makes a difference, if I can add a little bit more gravel in order to allow for just additional percolation. We'll see.
So I've gone ahead and filled it with water to its normal height, and then I'll be putting my gravel back in. But so far I don't see any leakage like I had before, so I think my repair job did what it was supposed to do. And again, this pumice just seems to, you could just see how the water just comes right up to the surface, even though it's below the surface. The water level is below the surface. You can see it just wets the rocks right up to the right to the very top. So everything is looking good. It looks tight, and I'll go ahead and put my dirt back in again. In my review of all the different programs on this sub-irrigation system, one statement stood out, and that is that these potting beds are essentially one big pot. You don't use normal regular garden soil in these wicking beds. You use a potting soil, and so we're at a high quality. I use a high quality potting soil, but I know that you can. There's a whole number of different videos that show you how to make soils, and I just I actually bought some bulk potting soil, so I think that should work.
In Johnny's garden, with his love and his caring, he puts his life into beauty sharing, and his children are his flowers, and they give me peace in quiet hours. And I'll do anything I got to do, cut my hair and shine my shoes, and keep on singing the blues if I can stay here in Johnny's garden.